Hey there, I hope you got to see that bright orange thing in the sky this weekend. I surely did. Well, hello again. It's Les Solgrove with Via Realtors. It is week 18 in the Des Moines real estate market. It is Monday, May 9th, 2022. And this week's show is all about what's kind of happened on a weekly basis year to date. Yeah, I got a little sunburn this weekend. Everybody says, oh, it looks like your hair's a little bit more gray or white. No, it's just the contrast from the sunburn I got on my face and arms and stuff. So anyway, I hope you all had a wonderful weekend, got some time out, and we'll talk a little bit about Mother's Day here in a second. But hey, let's get started with this week's show. So week 18 dashboard, there's been some interesting stuff kind of going on. So I thought what I would do would be to kind of contrast week 18 to back to week 2, which is the first week I started doing the dashboards here. And let's just go to week 2 here. And a couple of things you're going to notice is in week 2, we had about 50% of our homes for sale were new homes and about 34% were existing homes. At that point in time, we were in an even market for new construction, meaning it was pretty balanced. And it was actually a buyer's market for a short period of time there in early January for new construction condo townhomes as well. The key thing here is look at our months of inventory. We had 2 months of inventory overall, 5 months above on new construction condo townhomes, 4.7 for homes, and days on market was quite long compared to where we are right now. 12 days on market back in week 2. But let's get back to week 18. We're down to 4 days overall on market, 3 days on market for existing homes, and 2 for condo townhomes. And our months of inventory is actually starting to shift back just a little bit. We're still overall, we're in a seller's market, especially for existing homes and existing condos. But when you get into the new construction, we're starting to see that the months of inventory is starting to creep up a little bit. We're almost at that 4 months of inventory for new home sales, and one more month on that, and we would be back into a buyer's market. And I don't think we're going to see that this summer, but that's just a kind of a sign of things where we're heading. Remember, I said before that, let's just go back to that one. 49% of the homes back in week 2 were on the market were new construction. We're down to 44% now, and we're actually gaining inventory in the existing home sale market, which for this time of year is pretty normal. We're going to start to see more homes come on the market, but with new construction being so dominant as it has been the last couple of years, it's kind of interesting to see the existing home listings kind of make their comeback, although the inventory isn't really coming back. A year back in week 2, we were at 1906 and we're at 1837. So we're not that far off as far as the inventory count from the first of the year. We're still down from that second week, but it's just kind of interesting there. Pending sales, again, the predominance of our marketplace is existing home sales are in the sale pending contracts area. 57%, 1,931 homes for sale. So let's jump in here and kind of welcome May to the picture here. May has officially gotten here. We sometimes think of this as silly season because you see about everything that can happen this month of May from multiple offers, which is very typical. We're seeing that already this year, but this is usually the month when it all starts, and we're actually already a full month into the silly season. So happy Mother's Day this past weekend to all the moms out there. You know who you are, and you are the ones that are keeping this world together, I think. And some other things that are happening, in the month of May. Obviously, we had Cinco de Mayo earlier. Believe it or not, there's a National Clean Your Room Day. Is that coincidental that it's on right after Mother's Day? Telling the kids to get their rooms cleaned or somebody. Farmers markets are all starting up again this weekend. Des Moines farmers market was in full swing. I'm pretty sure it was a full success. As warm as the day was, it was just a perfect day to be out there. End of school is coming up, so that's another thing at the end of May that kind of comes. End of May, 1st of June, we see schools start to let out. and a lot of business starts to really ramp up when school's out. So, and of course, we end the month with Memorial Day. So we'll see how this month kind of goes here. Let's take a quick look, first of all, before we get into the week over week stuff. And this one kind of shows you, again, a little bit of the same thing. This is weekly homes for sale, the total inventory count. And what I want you to notice is around May there, you see that little green triangle above the black line. The black line in all these next examples is 2021. And 2022 is represented by a specific color based on the type of data. Well, this happens to be the total number of homes for sale compared to a year ago. And so we're up in homes for sale. Not a whole lot. We are over 1,800 homes for sale, and we were just under 1,800 homes for sale a year ago at this time. But look at the trend you're starting to see there. You're starting to see things kind of trend upwards. And traditionally, May is our busiest month, and so you would typically like to see that the homes for sale maybe would go down as inventory is purchased, but we're just seeing just a little bit of a slowdown. And I've got other indicators here that we're going to talk about, but inventory traditionally builds after the June, the month of June kind of hits, and it builds through the latter part of the year until November, December, when things kind of really slow back down again. So let's take a look at this now. The rest of these graphics here. Let's look at weekly new listings. Now the one before us here was total homes for sale. This is the number of homes added to the market each week. And again, you can see on the black line that we typically see a pretty steady rise. Now there's a spike there in April of last year. That was new construction when a lot of the builders dumped a couple of developments on our marketplace. And so we did see a pretty good spike last year at this time. We're not seeing that this year. In fact, you notice that about the 1st of April, inventory actually dropped and then kind of slowly picked back up. We actually had a dip in inventory for the month of April, and we're kind of seeing May kind of start off about where April ended. I guess we'll just have to see if we follow this same trend. But my prediction is we're going to see that the green weekly new listings is going to start to outpace 2021. And it's kind of done that already so far this year, if you look at February and March there. As far as price reductions, this is a good indicator too of a changing market. When you start to see more price reductions, we haven't seen a lot of price reductions this last year. But during the month of April and starting here into May, we are really starting to see pretty consistent price reductions above the pace of last year. And as typical, as the year goes through, home sellers that are not getting their homes sold typically start to reduce the price of their homes. And we'll see that rise as we get toward the end of the year. But we're starting to see that maybe just a tick early this year. And again, that's just a sign that the market is just finally starting to change a little bit. On the flip side, we've got price increases. So again, a lot of these price increases where you see the spikes, there's one about every month there through January, February, March, and April of 2021. Those are all primarily driven by new construction. And we're not seeing a lot of new construction price increases. I think April was about our biggest month. That first week of April, we did see a round of price increases with the spring market. But then again, you go right after that and really around 55 or 60 per week this last 2 or 3 weeks. And that's pretty low for this time of year. So, when mortgage interest rates are starting to rise, that's increasing in pricing is going to probably shoot particularly new construction kind of in the foot there a little bit, because it's just going to price somebody out. So I think we're just seeing some caution there and restraint from new construction and just everyday sales increasing their prices. So this could be a good sign here, I guess, as we move forward here. Weekly pending counts. We've talked about this for the last 3 or 4 weeks in a row. And this is just another way of looking at the fact that our market is not as busy, and that's a careful word here I'm using, not as busy as we were at this time last year. Yeah, we're busy. We're still selling houses, but it's not at the same pace as we were last year. You can see the black line shows that by this time last year, we were 375 or so homes actually went into pending status during week 18, and this year we're under 300. So that's about 75 homes less that went into sale pending. And that month of May, as you'll see for the black line again, you just kind of follow that across May to June. It does kind of start to slow down just a little bit as we go through the end of the year normally. And so if we've already hit our peak back in the middle of March, that's going to be a sign that something's changing. Now, right now we're kind of on pace with closed sales from last year, pretty close. In fact, we're ahead just a little bit. But if you remember, so you count back 6 weeks, that's that's highest mark there in the month of March of when homes were going under contract. And if a home takes between 4 to 6 weeks to close, that means that for the next 6 weeks, we're going to see a slower pace of closed sales as we move forward into the summer market. So don't be surprised if we see it take a little bit longer to hit those 1,000 milestones, and we'll kind of move forward as we go here. But in any case, this is just one more way to look at the marketplace a little bit. So the weekly closed sales, again, now this is remember I said that everything that kind of happens here moving forward has been a direct result of what has gone under contract in mid-March to early April. And so you can see that here we are with closed sales. Now these are sales that happened 6 weeks ago. And we were seeing this climb last year, and I really kind of predict that we may not see this climb continue after this week, or maybe next week it'll stay up, but then it's going to drop back down, because if we have fewer homes in sale pendings, then it's going to be hard for us to maintain or beat the pace that we were at last year. So I could see that this is just one of those indicators that say that our market is changing, and as we move forward, this will be one we'll kind of watch here. Whoops, went too far ahead here. So let's take a look at another indicator as well, the back on market percentage. All the way through last year, the first half of the year, we were pretty much in check, around 15 to 18% kind of on average there. Around May or June, it jumped up to 20% or so and stayed there pretty much until we got into the summer months. But what we're seeing so far in 2022 is that we're seeing more homes are coming back on the market percentage-wise than, in particular, the month of April, than we've seen in the last year or so. So, this week we were at 20%. So 2 out of 10 homes that went under contract came back on the market. The week before that was 1 in 4. So it's definitely up. We'd like to see this back on market number stay closer to that 12 to 15% number, which it was in February, March, and April, or early April anyway. February and March. But we're certainly seeing some little bit of changes there. The weekly open houses, we'll kind of go through this in a little bit more detail here. This is, again, just the sign of the open houses. And whenever you see a dip like we did there in April, that would have been Easter. And then this weekend in May, we typically see a little more of a drop for Mother's Day. And that was right on track for that as well. But I would say that if we start to see more open houses, that means homes are staying on the market longer. And that means that homes are needing this additional marketing method to get them sold. So again, just kind of we'll watch the open house traffic. If that continues to rise, that's yet one more indicator. And by the time you put all these little indicators together, we're going to see a picture, and I'm already kind of seeing that. So what do open house counts normally look like? And numbers wise, this weekend we had 245 homes total on the market that were held open. The previous weekend, of course, this was Mother's Day weekend, as I recall. But week 17 and 16, we were at 392 and 424. I would say we'll start to hit back upwards around that 400 to 450 maybe open house counts. In fact, week 17 at 424, that was the highest year to date. So Could we have 500-600 homes on the market that are being held open? It wasn't that long ago that we had a typical open house weekend was about 1,000 homes. So, we got a little ways to get back to the normal there. But last couple of slides, this is our days of inventory. This one really isn't year over year. This is just kind of a snapshot, taking a look at the pace of the market. Instead of calling it months of inventory, I call it days of inventory right now. Overall, it would take 37 days if no new listings come on the market before we ran out of all of our homes for sale. So homes are basically selling at such a pace that we would run out after 37 days. 21 and 18 for existing homes and existing condo townhomes. There's a lot more inventory out there that's it would take a lot longer to sell than new construction. And obviously some of that is just proposed, but it's not even started yet, but 116 days of inventory for new homes. As far as days on market, again, the existing home sales, whether it be existing homes or condo townhomes existing, are right now still at our full-blown spring market pace of 3 days and 2 days, and overall 4 days on market. New construction is out there at about 84 for the homes themselves. So, all right. Well, this past week I spent Sunday through Thursday in Washington, D.C. at the National Association of Realtors legislative meetings. And we had it's typically where we get to hear the national speakers. And this is Dr. Lawrence Yoon from the National Association of Realtors. He's our national economist, and he is probably one of the top top presenters in our industry, talking about what's happening in the real estate market. And so what I'm going to do this next week, I was waiting for the slides to come down from NAR. I want to pick several from those slides that he presented this past week and try to relate them to our Iowa market there. So he had a few graphics in there that talks about jobs and things like that. Those are probably going to be outside of my wheelhouse just because I'm more tracking real estate stats, but we'll see what we can come up with here and come back and try to do a report of the national real estate market compared to our local market. So I hope you'll join me. And do me a favor, if you like what you're hearing each week, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to please go ahead and subscribe to the website and to the YouTube channel. And when you do that, you will be notified immediately when a new video is dropped. And I typically drop those Sunday night for the Monday show. So if you want to get this information, the night before the week starts, so like we're recording right now on Sunday night, if you want to see this show before Monday morning, all you have to do is subscribe to the YouTube channel. And again, please like the channel if you like what you're seeing. That'll help me know that I'm sending the right message out there. So with that, thanks again for joining me. I appreciate everything that you guys are saying about me out there and doing, and we will talk to you all again next week.